Hello and welcome to my channel. Before I forget, I want to say thank you to the people who've reached out to me, sent me messages using LXMF on the Reticulum system, who've seen these videos or somehow got my LXMF address. So thank you for actually writing, and I do appreciate it because it shows me that things are working and I've got things configured correctly. So please try to take a look. If you have time or if you see my notes in the system, please feel free to say hello, ask questions maybe. I've learned quite a lot from messages that I've received. I'm going off topic already, aren't I? But these conversations on this particular server, they're not many, but on my other server, the one that's running all the time, this one's an experimental one, then I've had some really interesting conversations with people around the world who've given me tips about how to do things using Nomadnet, and I've learned more there probably than I've managed to learn from Googling it on the internet or whichever web browser you choose to use. Anyway, let's get back on topic, and the topic of this video is to talk about how to create a page to be served on a Nomadnet server that will reveal the status of the node connections. And this is it's called rn status, the actual command that will show you this if you type it on the command line. What I wanted to do was to make a page that I could host on my server where you can click on the link and it takes you to those statistics. And I've already made videos about how to create pages. I'll be doing more of those as I learn more myself, because I'm not an expert in programming at all. Python, I think this is the first time I ever wrote a Python program, albeit very short. Last time I had to write programs was half a decade ago, and it was in COBOL and Fortran and stuff like that, and Pascal. and then later it was assembly language and machine code and RSX11M stuff. But that was half a century ago. So bear with me when I make beginner mistakes, and please feel free to comment or make suggestions in the comment section below to help me to learn more, because this is all about learning by doing, I've discovered, and I'm having fun. So don't be shy. You're going to have to use the command line, but it's very minimal interaction. I'm actually doing this on Ubuntu 22.04, and because this is Python code, this server, this Nomadnet system, or software, is written in Python code, so you can actually run it on Windows or Ubuntu or anywhere else where you can set up a Python environment. Because I'm doing all this with Ubuntu, I'll continue, but don't feel you can't do this on Windows. You just have to get Python running and the Python environment set up. So what am I going to do? I'm going to first of all check a few things here, because to be able to call up the RNS status. RNS is the Reticulum network stack, and to be able to call it status, it has to be running. And the easiest way I've discovered to check if it's running is just to type RNSD. That's the daemon for RNS, Reticulum network stack, and just ask it what version it is. And that'll tell you if it's running or not, as well as revealing the version, which is 0.91. That's the latest one. I actually read the manual for this the other day. It was raining, and it was a very interesting read. Normally, I don't like reading manuals, but in this case, I did read through it, the PDF, and it revealed a lot and has accelerated my progress, helping me to use this system more and more and create things for it. So you need to have that running. Normally, when whichever program you start first that needs the RNS, it will start RNSD for you automatically. And then RNSD is available to other instances that need it. If you aren't running any other programs and you just want RNS, the stack, running alone on a machine, you just type RNSD and it will start. Don't do it if it's already running. I've actually worked out how to start this when the machine boots, so it's always running on this particular machine, and I'll show you in another video how to do that so that it starts automatically on boot up. Anyway, so RNS is running, and I'm going to use the output of the status command, which is rn status, which is like that. And there it is. That's the Reticulum node status for this particular machine. And you can see that it's got various connections here. This auto interface is the connection via the internet. This is the shared instance, which you might have seen in my other videos in that nice diagram, the overview of the network with all those dangly bits that you can move around the screen. And I kept mentioning these names. Sometimes I swap them over and I say the wrong one. Sorry about that. So the shared instance is your terminal you're using here that's connected to the RNS instance running here. And then these are other TCP interfaces that I've added. And I'll show you in another video how to do that. This is the radio node, which is up. That's nice. Sometimes when I start the machine, it's not up, and you have to unplug the USB plug and plug it in again. I noticed there is a battery in my R node, so if the thing has crashed, that won't reset it. Then you have to press the button, or maybe it's better to run these without batteries and always power them by USB. That way they get a fresh start when you turn the computer on. Anyway, this is my radio node using the LoRa protocol, a Heltec V3, and it's got some statistics here. Very interesting is the noise floor, so that you know what the noise level is, and you know then what signal levels you might need to be able to communicate. And it shows the traffic. So this is, I think, quite useful information, and I wanted to put this on a page that can be hosted. It uses Micron language, normally these pages, on Nomadnet. So I wanted to write a program to do it for me, so I can just click on the link. And we're going to use Python, which is, it seems quite straightforward to me so far. I managed to get it work by a little bit of trial and error, but it didn't take many iterations to get it running. So I'm just going to show you how I did it to hopefully save some time for you. So I'm going to put this rn status command onto a status page, which I'm going to call status.mu. Normally on the server you have an index.mu, that's the home page that gets called up when somebody clicks on the link, and then from there I'm going to link that with a button to press or something. It'll just be text to the page I'm going to write now, which is called status.mu. There's a couple of prerequisites to this. We need to know a few things before we can write the Python code. First thing is in the first line you need to have a statement of where your Python environment is located. And the easiest way, let me clear the screen, that I found to do this is just to ask the system. I know it's Python 3 because all of this is running in Python 3. So if I just type which Python 3, it'll tell me where it's located, hopefully. Yeah, there it is. That's the location of where the Python environment is. So I need to use that. So I need to remember that for adding into the code in a moment. The other thing that I need to know is the path name to that function I called that rn status program. Looks like that. I need to know exactly where that's located so I can call it from the Python code. And I learned something here because I didn't put the full path. I only put the part that I thought was important, and it didn't work. So I'm going to show you graphically, because it's easier to perhaps get an overview. If we use the file manager, remember to switch on show hidden files, otherwise you won't see these, and I'm sure this applies to Windows as well. So in the home directory, this is home, there's this hidden file with a dot in front called Nomad Network. So I'm going to double click on that. Actually, what am I looking for? Well, I'll show you in the pages. If you go into storage and then pages, that's where I'm going to put the page I'm going to create. There's the index.mu. But as I said before, I want to find, let's start in the whole computer. I want to find out where rn status is located. So if I just click on here, then that's the whole hard drive in this computer. And I'm just going to search using the search button for rn status. Rn status. You don't need to press enter. It's searching already. Oh, there it is. So here it is. It's located in home/user/local/bin. And that's the path to the rn status program. It's finding a few more of these. Oh, snapshots. Yeah, I keep backing up my system. I use time shift because it's a good idea. Sometimes things go wrong, and if I can't fix it, then I've got a problem because I'm not an expert. But if I use time shift to automatically back up, plus I manually back up when I think I've done something useful, then I can always roll back, and I've done that once or twice, rolled back through these to get things working again. Anyway, that was another sidetrack, but it's a useful hint. So rn status is here, home user .local/bin. So I have to remember that and put it into my Python program. So what am I going to do? I'm going to create that page called status.mu, and I'm going to put it, of course, in the right place. And how am I going to do that? Let's just try and go straight there. CD. This doesn't always work. Sometimes I make typing mistakes. So we want to go to home/.nomadnet. Sorry about this. It sounds really, yeah, primitive. .nomad network. Where was it? It's good for my memory to actually try and train these things rather than copy pasting it. So it's in storage /pages, and hopefully, oh, it worked. Let's just make sure. I'm going to use ls-al so I can see the permissions for the files. Yeah, it worked. So here are the files, the index page that I'm going to link my new page to. And there's a couple of others I've been playing with. They'll be subjects of other videos. So I need to create a page called status.mu. The easiest way, I think, to do that is just to edit it with nano. So nano status.mu. So there it is. This file is called status.mu. Don't put sudo in front, otherwise root will be the owner, and then later on you can have problems with permissions. So that belongs to me, which is the user who is called user, just so I can remember the name of the user. So there it is. And so I need to put in that path that I found to declare where Python's located. So we do this with #! Sorry if I'm using the wrong words for these symbols. Different people use different words for different symbols. And I'm a hooligan, so I just read it on the screen as I see it, because then I can remember it better. So where was it? It was user bin Python 3. Okay. So that's very important. It's, of course, important to get this right. If you get it wrong, it won't work. It will give errors. I actually crashed the server a couple of times by just clicking on a link to a page that had an error on it, and the whole thing crashed. But that's another thing. Anyway, we're going to use a sub-process, which is the rn status. So we have to import sub-process. Like that. And I am actually going to copy paste it. Oh no, I'm not. I'm going to be daring. So I'm going to have a variable called rn status, which is the thing I want to display. And let's say that that is equal to subprocess. I'm not going to copy paste. I think in the future videos I won't type everything. I will copy paste just to save time, because you don't want to watch me typing. So you want get output, because you want to get the output from the function we're going to call and put it in a variable called rn status. So subprocess.get output. Get output of what? This thing that's going to go in brackets, and that's just the path to the rn status program. So we need a quote here, and then /home/user. You probably noticed in my videos that I make mistakes, and I don't do it on purpose, but I allow them to happen so that I can hopefully help people better to understand what's gone wrong when things don't work and how to fix it. That's my excuse anyway. So /bin/ what was it called? rn status. And I have to think hard about this and check it carefully to make sure it's going to work. So we want rn status is equal to subprocess.get output of this with quotes and brackets. Yeah, /home/user. Is it spelled? Yeah, USER, not USR. That's a different file on Ubuntu. .local/bin/ yeah, I meant directory when I said file. So that's it. So the rn status variable will contain the data we want, hopefully. So all you want to do is print it on the screen. So print, and then the name of the variable rn status. This isn't supposed to be a course in how to program in Python, but it's beginning to look like it, isn't it? But I'm learning. So learn with me, or just skip to the end to see the result. So I think that's it. That looks like everything I'm going to need. So let's just exit while saving. Some people complain when I do this. Control X. Do I want to save it? Yes. To status.mu. That's it. There's a deliberate mistake coming along now. You'll see what that's going to be in a second. Let's just list the files. There it is, status.mu. If you've got eagle eyes, you'll notice what the mistake is already. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to link it to the index page, and I'm going to do that the quick way using the GUI editor. So let's get rid of all this. Well, let's just go home and then look for index. So it's Nomad Network, storage, pages, and the index page is index.mu. So that's that. And this is a page I created earlier in another video where you can see how to do things, and here are some links. And what I want is to make a link to the page I just created. So what I'm going to do is move those down and put it here. Easy way to do it, just copy paste the other links that already work. So let's do that. Control C and put it. Let's put it here so we can see it. Control V. So this is going to be called status. I'm just going to call it status, I think, for the purpose of this video. Well, let's call it RN status, so I know which one it is. That's it. And then the name of the page is status.mu. Let me just check that. Yes, it is. That's the page I created a few minutes ago. Whoops, was already there. So I'm not looking at the screen, I'm looking at a different screen. That should work. So that's going to be a link to status.mu. Okay, so Control S to save that. And then I'm going to look at it using the Nomadnet program, which I've shown in other videos and I'll show in future videos as well. And how you do that, if you haven't already got the page displayed, which it is, but this is an old version, it doesn't have my new link on it yet. You can do reload, but let me show you how to find it in the first place. You have to click on node info, which I think means my node info, not any of these other nodes. And then you click on browse. There it is. And then you see it's updated this page that's been served. And now this is the page I just added. And I made a deliberate mistake on the way. So if I click on it, what's going to happen? There we are. We see the Python code I wrote, but it doesn't execute and display the information I wanted. And that's because I didn't make it executable. That's important. And it's not green here, it's white. So if I do ls-al, you can see that the permissions are missing. There are no X's in here. And I like to do this in stages, being cautious and not being an expert with Linux. I first of all allow the user to execute and then go up in stages to allow more and more users or things to execute the code. I'm sure there's a better way of calculating this, but anyway, so at the moment, status.mu is read-write for these two, no executes. So I'm going to make the first one be allowed to execute it. And if you don't know how this works, you need to know binary in your head and to be able to convert this into numbers using the chmod command. So what number do I have to put here? Status.mu at the moment, ignore the first one. If you know binary, this is corresponding to 4, 2, and 1. And when there's a letter there, it is there, and when there's no letter there, it isn't. So 4 plus 2 is 6. And this one is also 4 plus 2 is 6, and this is just 4. So this is code 664. What I want to do is to put an X here. So I just have to have RWX, which would be 111, which is 4 plus 2 plus 1, which is 7. So I could put 7 here, keep that one the same, which is 6. I'm thinking aloud. I have to do this because it helps me to remember it, and maybe it'll help you to remember it as well. And then this is just 4. So by doing that, I'll put an X just in that first position, hopefully. And what's the file name I want to do this to? It's status.mu. So let's see if it worked. It's very important, this. So status.mu is now executable with this X here. Maybe that was enough. Let's try it. That's the safest option. So I'm going to reload. Well, I don't have to reload. What I do need to do is go back. And normally, as a user, you'd probably be using the wonderful Reticulum Mesh Chat program from Liam Cottle. And if you land on a page like this that doesn't have a back button, on his software at the top, there's a back button. You can press to go back to the previous page. And if you're running this program, which is meshnet, then you need to go back somehow, and it's there's a command down here. I'm sure it's Control R. Oh, no, it's not. There you go. It's Control D. And if you're in the Messages or Conversations tab, Control D sends the message. If you press Return, you just get a blank line. You have to press Control D to send a message. I'll make a video about how to use this, perhaps, and looking at more details. But when you're browsing a web page, you want to go back, then it's also Control D. So I'm going to do Control D. That's gone back, and there's my RN status. So let's click on it, see what happens. Oh, it worked. Wow, beginner's luck. So now, instead of just seeing the Python code that didn't execute, you see the output from the Python code which did execute. And actually, if we go and look in the files program, you'll see now that the status.mu has got this little Python logo in it, which it didn't have before. I'm not sure if I showed you that, but it would have been looking just like this. It would have had this little text emoji, or it's an icon saying it was plain text, which is why it served as plain text. But now that it's been made executable, it's got, like these are, then you've got the Python logo telling you it's going to execute. We have to watch out, of course, because sometimes you don't want to execute things as programs. It could be malware. Talking of malware, this whole system is malware. According to Facebook yesterday, here I go ranting again, Facebook announced that Linux is malware, and any posts about Linux or anything with Linux is going to be flagged as malware on Facebook. Not that I use Facebook, but if you do, watch out. I think they forgot that Windows has a thing called WSL, Windows System for Linux, which allows you to sort of natively run Ubuntu, I think it is, within Linux, within Windows rather. So it's built into Windows anyway, which means Windows is also malware. Plus every other operating system you probably ever use has got a Linux component, so then everything's malware, so nothing should appear on Facebook anymore. Anyway, end of rant. So here we are. This is the RNS status output that I wanted to see on my page, and it's appeared on my page, and it works. And the noise floor is changing. That's interesting. I think it was minus 102 dBm before, so it means the noise has gone down, which is good. It's got quieter in this environment. Anyway, so I'm going to go back with Control D, and that is how to execute a little Python code, and you see it was only 3 or 4 lines, to call up some information on a page. And I've been playing with some others, which I'll show you in other videos. And once you get started with this, watch out, because it's a little bit addictive. Well, maybe to certain mindsets it's addictive, and I'm learning now. I never really got around to learning Python. I see everybody using it, and I see lots of it around, and I thought, wow, that's a lot of learning to do, and I didn't know where to start. But now, just writing these simple pages that I can see the output from, and the whole world can see, is very motivating to write more. So let's see what happens next. So thank you for watching. Remember, please, to leave comments, ask questions, make suggestions, helpful ones, or criticism also, if there is any, please, because I need to know. I'm probably doing this wrong in some places. And subscribe if you'd like to be informed when I next upload a video. So that's over and out from me.